We are seeing cracks everywhere in the economy right now. Real estate has got some cracks and some stresses that we're concerned about. We've got stock market concerns, we've got AI concerns, tariff concerns, all these concerns are happening right now. Is there somewhere where you can just guarantee that your money is going to be safe and can even give you passive income, not just now, but later as well, that you have passive income for life and never have to worry about it? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, my fellow Ripplers. This is Chris Miles, your cash flow expert and anti-financial advisor. This show is for you if you want your money working harder for you, so you don't have to work so dang hard for that money. You want to become work optional, where you have enough passive income to work because you want to, not because you have to. Now, if you would like to know how you can become work optional yourself, you'd be sure to go to our website. It's very easy to do. Go to the work optional calculator. That's actually under the work optional page. Go try that out today to see how much passive income you could be creating in the next 12 months. The answer might just surprise you, so check that out today. So how can you create passive income for life and guarantee it? Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this at all. I love real estate investing. There is no doubt, but there's also the fact that real estate can be risky. There is no guarantee. Any investment that you're going to do doesn't have any guarantees, right? You can lose money. Even if you have a real asset backing it up, there's always risk. And for that reason, I know that that's something that does concern you. And you're probably wondering, with all this turbulent world going on, if you're not careful, you're going to do what most average people do that lose a lot of money in the markets, which is do nothing. Just sit and wait it out. It's kind of like you're standing on a boat, right? You know, if you ever, you shouldn't do this, by the way, just disclaimer, don't sue me if you try to do this. But if you've ever been on a boat before that's a little bit rickety, and you're in a smaller boat and you're trying to get off of it, you know, you realize that maybe there's some waves coming. And so you're kind of bracing yourself and you're just trying to hold steady, hoping that if you don't move, that you won't fall in. But the problem is, if the waves are big enough, it doesn't matter how you're going to try to balance that sucker, you're going to fall overboard. That's what many people are doing right now, is that you're trying to balance on this boat and you feel the turbulence and the waves, and you don't want anything to sacrifice that, that sense of certainty or freedom that you want, yet you don't have any control over it. And that's a scary place to be. And so I actually did this video for another group. This is a dental mastermind group that I'm a part of. I did a video and I thought, you know what, this subject can also be beneficial for you. And so I want to give you kind of this taste of what can you do to create guaranteed passive income, right? How can you guarantee you'll have passive income? And even better, could it be tax-free? Now, if you guys have been on the show long enough, we talked about this kind of strategy, right? We've talked about this Max ROI Infinite Banking. How can you create this infinite bank that does pay you infinite cash flow? Well, I want to show you what I showed one of my clients recently, because it was their question, not mine. But I answered their question. I realized this could be beneficial for you. Now, I get this. I've shown this before, but I want to take it a step further. So even if you've seen this example, I'm going to go even further to something you haven't seen before. So be sure to hang in to the end, because this all blends together to show you how this works. Now, just so you're aware, I'm not advocating that we don't invest in real estate or other kind of things. I still am. But I know I'm much more cautious and careful right now, especially with what I'm investing in. This is why people have been hiring us more lately, because they're saying, I don't even know where to turn anymore. I want to be in a group that I can feel safer in numbers, right? Where we can talk with each other and figure out what can be working best. And the great thing is, they're differing opinions. So it's not just this big echo chamber that so many people get caught up into. But this strategy right here actually complements what you have, because yes, you want to be able to aggressively invest, but if you put all 100% of your money in these investments that could be risky, where you could lose money, now you don't have that safety, that certainty. And as a result, you're actually playing with fire. You could actually cripple yourself, because you need to have cash that's safe and you need to have cash investing too. It's a 1-2 punch, right? You got to have both. In fact, by having cash safe on the side, it allows you to be able to invest more aggressively. So here's how you can do it. This is through the Max ROI Infinite Banking strategy we talk about. Now, this is not just about using life insurance. This is about how do we have guaranteed tax-free income. So let me show you what happened to this client. He was a dentist, not a part of this other mastermind group, but he's a dentist. And he said, he's like, hey, I want to see if I can actually pull off tax-free income. I've realized I could do that. And I want to do it when I'm younger. Because remember, if you have Roth IRAs and things like that, they make you wait till you're 59 and a half. This guy's in his 30s. He doesn't want to wait till 59 and a half. He wants to do it in his 40s. So here's what it looks like. Okay, now this is a client that's had a policy with us for about 5 years. Now he's been paying 60,000 a year. Now what's interesting is he's already used this money to invest passively, but he's about to get that money back from the investment. He's going to pay off the loan, that line of credit he did. For those who don't understand how that works, you have the cash that's in here. You have the death benefit, of course, and this guy has a pretty nice size death benefit of almost $4 million. But you also have this tax-free saves account in here that's protected from lawsuits of creditors in most states, 100%. It's also, like I said, guaranteed to keep growing, and is right now paying 6% a year tax-free. Now, this money, yeah, 6% is not the most sexy thing, but I'll show you why it can be, because it allows you to pull out more money than you normally would from even a stock market account. Now, he's borrowed the money to invest. Now he's using this money to pay it back in. But he said, hey, Chris, I'm going to pay in. But what if I stopped at the 15th year, which is just 10 years from now? What if I stopped? So he paid 60,000 a year. That means he's paid 900,000 over those 15 years. And then he stops at age 48. At age 49, we start showing him pulling off income, which, just so you know, 75,000 a year he's pulling off tax-free. I want you to think about this for a second, because many people will say, man, if I had, say, let's just say you had that 900,000 as a lump sum, right? You pay that $900,000 in, and you think, oh, wouldn't it be awesome if I got paid 10% or 90,000 a year? Now, the fortunate yet unfortunate thing is, even though that's a great income, much better than you get from most people pulling out of their mutual funds, because you'll be pulling out 3%, like 27 grand a year instead, and you might even have to wait later to pull it out. Still, the thing that's different is that you might have to pay taxes on it. So let's just say that your taxes are about 25%. Well, what's 25% of $90,000? Well, right there, you're looking about 22,000 you might be paying in taxes, give or take, right? Let's just say it's 20,000 bucks. Well, guess what? That 90,000 now decreases down to 70,000 after you pay taxes. Notice this is $75,000 and it's tax-free, because life insurance is not taxed. It grows tax-free, comes out tax-free, much like a Roth IRA, but without the 59 and a half rules and limitation of how much you could pay into it. In this case, this guy's case, he's paying in 10 times more than his Roth, if he even could qualify for Roth, because he makes too much money. It'd be 10 times more he can contribute. So now that's 75,000 a year, but this is not just for a few years, guys. This is 75,000 a year and 43 years here, right? So it's going all the way till age 91. 75,000 for 43 years. I mean, you do the math, that's roughly about $3.2 million he pulls out tax-free after paying in just 900,000. And that's income he can count on. Hey, by the way, just so you know, he still has a death benefit. Even after that was 43 years pulling out 3.2 million, he's still got about $1 million death benefit, give or take, that he pass on to his heirs tax-free as well. So he's got his cake and he can eat it too. Now, some people say, okay, that's cool, Chris, but I'm not 35 years old. Like I'm much older. Would this work for me if I'm like, say, 60 years old? So glad you asked. Well, I ran those numbers for you too. Okay. So 60,000 a year, you'll see here. Now I only did this for 10 years. So let's just say from age 60 until about 70, you pay in 60,000 a year. So that's $600,000 total. What's so fascinating, and by the way, I did this at the second highest health rating. So a little bit better than average, but not the best. Okay. So I did downgrade it a little bit from what that guy was at with his best health rating. Now, here's what's cool. Notice here, 51,000, almost 52,000 a year, tax-free. This is for the next 20 years. So I ran it till, again, he was up until he's 90 years old. That's tax-free income. That's over $1 million he's able to pull out tax-free after putting in 600,000. Now, this is the biggest critique you get from guys like Dave Ramsey and everybody else, right? They'll say, yeah, those things don't pay very much. They don't grow very fast. Because, let's be honest, after 10 years, his cash that he actually had in this thing was almost $700,000. That's roughly about a 2.77%, 2.7% rate of return tax-free. But still, you're like, I could do a CD maybe at 4%, and after taxes still make about the same. And yes, you could. But it's not about how much it grows to. It's about what's the income. How much income can you actually pull off of this thing? So that's the key. And the thing is, because this is showing 6% a year. By the way, if the dividends do go up, you could potentially pull off more. The last 20 years has paid anywhere from 5.75 up to about 6.34%. So this is kind of the lower end of what it's paid in the last 20 years. All that's, again, not based on real estate markets, stock markets, economy. It's not based on that. It's all based on interest rates. And so these always have a guarantee to be able to pay at least 3-4% a year. But in this company's case, it's been paying since the year 1847. It's been paying more than its guarantee. It's never paid as low as its guarantee. It's always been higher. So does that mean that it couldn't happen at some point? Sure. We could have a really bad global crisis, worse than the Great Depression, worse than a civil war or any other world wars, right, that we've had. Obviously, something could happen. But these things have kept paying regardless because they're not based on all these things. It's based on certainty. That's what you need is certainty. If you've been following this podcast, you're probably looking for great ways to create passive income right now, right? Well, we got you covered here with Central Lending. Central Lending specializes in alternative investments that actually are designed to create steady returns and long-term financial security for you and your family. Now, they prioritize transparency. They love, building those strong relationships, giving you that confidence and peace of mind, knowing that you have your money working harder for you, so you don't have to work so hard for that money. You want to learn more how to do that? Go to centrallending.com and check out what they've got today to create your passive income and wealth creation right now. This is why this is part of my own financial plan. Yes, I've got real estate. I've got all kinds of things I invest in, but I also have this too. Now, yes, I have that as a place that I store my cash reserves. I keep my emergency fund in this place, right? Because I know it's safe. It'll never lose. And I make way more than the bank will ever pay me. And I've got the ability to use that money whenever I need to use it, even if I want to invest with it too. So I have this flexibility. It's like the Swiss Army knife you never knew you had access to. Well, that's the almost $52,000 a year. Like I said, that's over $1 million you can pull off tax-free for the next 20 years. Now, here's what's cool. I've had some people say, yeah, but what if I've got a lot of cash? Like I have some clients come to us. There's like, hey, I've got couple million dollars of cash. Could I designate some of my safe money to go here? Because smart investors have portfolios where they'll have the guaranteed foundation in place. They don't 100% move everything to just go and invest for passive income. That's gambling. That's what a lot of risky investors, they're not even investors. They're risky gamblers will do. People that have gained wisdom over time, like I had to the hard way because I did do this wrong the first time, is that if you have a good balance of offense and defense, in fact, the defense what allows you to have a good offense, this makes it work. By the way, I failed to mention too, the 60-year-old, when they turn 62, as we mentioned in a previous episode, you could pull out Social Security to also help fund this too. So now you can fund this money you're getting from getting back from the money you paid in, but less than you should have been getting from the government, right? But you're able to take that money again, let it grow tax-free, come out tax-free. That's cool. But I get people that do say, well, wait, what if I want to put a lump sum in here? Generally, I discourage putting a lump sum in your policy because it can increase your costs a lot. But there is one way to do it. And I mentioned this several months back, but I want to reemphasize how you can make this work and what it would look like. What if that person, instead of wanting to pay $60,000 a year for the next 10 years, says, what if I just earmark $600,000 to go into this and I can just set it and forget it? What if I could do that? Yes, I did say set it and forget it. Well, that's what this example shows. Now, to show you that what the insurance company has, they have almost like a CD of sorts, right? They have this 5.5% interest-bearing account. It's not tax-free. This is much like a CD, but it is earning 5.5%. So if you put that $600,000 in, they pull out the first year's premium, but now for the next 10 years, they're just drawing out of this account. You put the $600,000 in, that's now earning 5.5%. Well, as a result, you're not putting in $60,000 a year for 10 years. Because of interest being earned, you can put in $75,000 a year. Again, you can just throw in that money, one lump sum, set and forget it, let it just draw from that account. And yes, because people always ask, could I still get access to it in case of a bad emergency or something? The answer is absolutely yes, you can. That is possible. But here's the cool thing, $75,000 a year for 10 years. That's what ends up turning out to be with that 5.5%. And that's fixed. That's why they can show you $75,451 as the premium going in each year for 10 years. But what's awesome, you put in $600,000, what's the cash flow in just after 10 years? Over $65,000 for the next 20 years. Again, this is based on a 60-year-old. Imagine how much more awesome this is if you're younger than 60 because you get better health ratings, therefore you get a better ROI on your cash. So I'm showing you a 60-year-old here that can literally in 10 years turn his $600,000 into $65,000 a year. Just so you know, That's pretty rare. Even if you had in the stock market, let's just say the stock market would double your money from 600,000 to 1.2 million in 10 years. If you're lucky, right? Let's just say it does do that. Well, that 1.2 million, again, if you pull out 4% a year, that's still 48,000 a year and you pay taxes on it most likely, unless it's a Roth. Here, you're able to pull out 65,000 a year for the next 20 years. That's impressive. That's over $1.3 million you're able to pull out after putting in 600,000. And of course, in the end, you still have a small death benefit left over, depending on how much you pull out. That is the power of what I'm talking about here. That is what's actually possible. So yes, when we talk about doing Max ROI Infinite Banking, and yes, that is using our strategy no matter what your age is. Now, again, if you're in your 70s, 80s, we would probably do a different strategy than this, right? We'd find some other way to make this work. But you can do a little bit of everything. Again, you don't put everything in here. Don't do that. Don't put everything all in onto your real estate. You do both. It's not an either or, it's an and type of situation. You have your investments creating cash flow and passive income. But again, the biggest worry I have people saying is, well, what if I put in this investment? It pays 10% a year, but there's still inflation. If I'm not growing my money some other way, that stops. Well, what if you could say, I have an inflation hedge right here? I can use this money to start kicking in. I can even fund it with Social Security. I can fund it with other things. Instead of doing my 401k, getting that match and hoping and praying it's going to be there someday, what if I can get that money working right now? And yes, you can invest it today and let it just grow tomorrow and get that guaranteed income. I tell you, I had one guy that he's 72 years old. He said, my only regret is that I didn't do this strategy more. He's like, I invested tons into real estate. I went all in. He's like, and I had, several hundred thousand sitting in the life insurance, but that's it. He's like, but now that I realize this could have been tax-free income and it's guaranteed, that gave me more certainty than some of the real estate deals I did that didn't go so well. Again, like I know that anything can happen, right? Real estate can go bad. Stock market can go bad. This doesn't go bad. This is guaranteed. And I'm not talking about universal life. Universal life is not guaranteed. Do not believe that crap for 1 second. It's not true. That's scary. That one actually increases costs over time. And because it is market dependent, even though they say there's little, guarantees and whatnot, still, because the costs go up, you could actually lose money in those policies. This is legitimately whole life, but it's not any average whole life policy you get from any old agent out there from State Farm or whatever. They don't make this work. You will pay way more money than what you'll get back. You will not see numbers like this. That's why we had to create a very specific, really something that we've developed over the last 18 years now, since I first started really figuring out how to pull different levers and make this work. It's been about 18 years to get it to this point where it actually makes real logical sense. And it gives me that better peace of mind. And it's a place I can store my cash, my emergency fund, and everything else too. So again, I'm storing more cash over here, just like Warren Buffett's been doing. By the way, Warren Buffett's got 340 billion sitting in cash because he's getting ready for something coming in the economy. I know if you haven't been living under a rock, you feel it too. You know something's coming. You know this is not these great, better than expected, almost too good to be true days are going to come to an end at some point. You need to make sure you have some safe money on the sidelines, or you could lose it all. And I don't want you to be in that place. This is why I keep doing this podcast. This is why I keep beating this drum over and over and over. That's a drum. That's my fist, but you get it. I'm beating this drum over and over because I want you to understand that this is serious. Something is brewing. It's already been brewing, but now the storm is coming. You're starting to see that the winds are picking up. The palm trees are starting to blow, and you're starting to wonder how much time do you have left? The money moves you need to make are right now. If you end up being like most average Americans, they'll make their money moves after they've already lost the money. You can do it now before things get bad. And yes, they do get bad. Not because I'm a Nostradamus, not because I'm predicting anything, because I'm a prophet. Not at all. It's because we've gone way too long without a correction. There has to be a correction to bring things back into balance. It is inevitable. And we've had such an amazing run up right now. This is the best time to make different moves and be proactive before things shift and change. So, of course, if you ever want to figure out like, how do I actually make this work and how does this infinite banking strategy work with my whole plan, guys, you can just go ahead and go to our website. You can actually contact us there's an actual infinite banking tab you can click on. You can book a call, find out what does that look like for you. But in any case, guys, regardless, the thing I want you to understand is that you need offense and a defense. You need the 1-2 punch. You need guaranteed money and you need aggressive money, money that's going to give you a chance at real financial freedom. You can't have one without the other. You got to have both. So go and make it a wonderful and prosperous week. We'll see you later.